Zelda Echoes of Wisdom is the perfect Zelda game. I know, that's quite the statement. All my boomer Zelda fans are thinking, how can Echoes of Wisdom be the perfect Zelda game when A Link to the Past is the perfect Zelda game? And they'd be right. A Link to the Past is a perfect Zelda game. I think it's the best game before the boom of the 3D gaming experience. I think it's the best 16-bit game ever. A perfect adventure game not bogged down by modern gaming woes. And if you're my age, you're thinking, wait, Ocarina of Time is the perfect Zelda game. And you'd be right. Ocarina of Time is a perfect Zelda game. In fact, I'd argue it's the greatest game ever made. Sure, Wind Waker and Twilight Princess expanded the scale and the scope of Zelda games, but Ocarina of Time is a more streamlined than those two. There's no long selling scenes or wolf sections that bring the action to a screeching halt. And for my newer Zelda fans, they think Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom are perfect Zelda games. And I mean, they aren't, but they have their defenders. Breath of the Wild made Zelda a genre and inspired several ripoffs. So I get why people claim it's the perfect Zelda game. So, how can I make such a bold claim about Echoes of Wisdom? Well, simple, really. I stated there's 3 Zelda camps competing for the title of perfect Zelda game. Link to the Past, Ocarina of Time, and for this video we'll say Breath of the Wild. But that's the thing. That means there are at least 3 different types of Zelda fans, each saying their favorite game is a perfect Zelda game. So how can any of them be the perfect Zelda game if they don't cater to all 3 camps? Now, before we really dive into this, let me just say that if you're in one of those 3 camps, you're probably not going to be saying Echoes of Wisdom is the perfect Zelda game. Thus, I've probably already created a paradox and exposed the fact that there is no true perfect Zelda game, right? Well, I think I can convince you that Echoes of Wisdom comes the closest to blending all 3 types of Zelda fans. So let's ask ourselves, what is a Zelda game? This answer will probably vary depending on what camp you're in. So let's look at Zelda 1, as it established so much of what we consider core elements to Zelda games. Zelda, Link, and Ganon are all here. That's all you need to tell a good Zelda story, as Zelda 1 showed us. The other characters are nice to have, they help expand the lore, but they are not required. The Master Sword, heart containers, as heart pieces aren't a thing yet, progressive items, dungeons, and a semi-open world all get their start here with Zelda 1. Yeah, Zelda was never really open world before Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. At least not in the way we think about it, such as games like Fallout. But their stories have always kind of been non-linear, so what do I mean by that? In Zelda 1, I used to play through the 3rd dungeon first. That's right, I'm kind of a rebel.
Welcome to the Salty Spittoon. How tough are you?
How tough am I? How tough am I? I had a bowl of nails for breakfast this morning.
But it's not like you could go and face Ganon yet. So, let's look at A Link to the Past. Does it have these elements? Yeah. Link, Zelda, Ganon are all here, the Master Sword is here, and now heart containers have been reduced to heart pieces, but I think that's a good thing overall. And the world is as explorable as ever. What about Ocarina of Time? Yep, Link, Zelda, Ganon, all here, Master Sword, dungeons, heart pieces, and a semi-open world to explore all make a triumphant return. What about Breath of the Wild? Kinda, right? Link, Zelda, Ganon, all here. No heart pieces, but the Master Sword is here. No true dungeons the way that old players like to think about them, but now the world really is open. It's a great game, but people often say it isn't a great Zelda game. I don't think this is an insult, even if it sounds snooty, as Breath of the Wild literally prides itself on breaking the Zelda formula. And if you pride yourself on breaking the Zelda formula, then you can't possibly be a perfect Zelda game. Right? I don't know. I don't think it's that simple. I mean, Mario 64 and Fallout 3 are beloved, but they change genres pretty sharply. So maybe breaking the formula doesn't disqualify you from being a perfect Zelda game? We've covered a lot of ground here. Let's look at Echoes of Wisdom. Link, Zelda, Ganon, all here. Heart pieces, they're back, baby. Dungeons, I think, are starting to get back to what old school gamers recognize. An explorable world? Yep. The Master Sword? No, not exactly. We get the Sword of Might. Progressive items? Sort of, right? Since we play as Zelda, the dynamic here is a little different. We get a sword, we get bows, we get bombs, but it's the echoes that I want to talk about. See, the Tri-Rod is what ties my whole theory together. After all, old school Zelda fans don't like how new Zelda has removed heart pieces, traditional dungeons, and progressive items, while new Zelda fans hate how one-dimensional old Zelda games feel. Breath of the Wild let players experiment with problem solving in ways that Ocarina of Time and Link to the Past never offered players. Echoes of Wisdom gives players everything they need right from the start, and that's the Tri-Rod. The Tri-Rod is what lets Zelda learn the echoes. The echoes allow the game to play like Breath of the Wild while still having an old school feel of Ocarina of Time and A Link to the Past. Dungeons play out more like traditional Zelda games, even if they aren't all the way back to what they need to be. But the echoes at the same time give the game its non-linear feel, and they invite problem solving. There's so many echoes that do a wide variety of things. As far as combat goes, let's examine these. There's a boomerang and a crossbow enemy that allow you to attack at a distance. There's sword-based attackers that attack head-on. There's birds that attack from above. There's elemental enemies that attack with moves like fire and electricity. It really lets you customize and adapt to each situation. Exploration pulls from the freedom of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom with the vast array of echoes. I think it's so cool how the map is layered, making it appear as if areas are off limits, but you get this sick elevator platform named Platboom for vertical ascension. There's beds of all things that are great for building bridges or staircases. You'll use small tables, boxes, and even trees early in the game to reach new and interesting places. Thanks to being able to transform into Link, it gives you access to the bow and the sword. Combined with the echoes, puzzles have a whole host of solutions too. Just using fire as an example, and hopefully I'm pronouncing this echo correctly, but the Ignizel can light torches, but sometimes there are torches it cannot reach. So you have a handful of solutions you can perform here. You can use the Tri-Rod's ability of projecting echoes at long distance, allowing you to kind of shoot the echo to the torch. You can shoot an arrow through its fire, which can then turn around and set the torch, or light the torch, I should say. You can also set another echo, let's just call it a bed, on fire. Then you combine with the bed and then move the bed to set the torch on fire. It's crazy how much complexity these echoes add to puzzle solving, and I feel like new school fans are going to appreciate the way that they're not shoehorned into using one solution. So, is Echoes of Wisdom my favorite Zelda game? No. It's left a good impression, and I've really enjoyed my time with it, and I know this video is a weird concept. I'm not saying Echoes of Wisdom scores a perfect score. I'm saying I think it blends new and old Zelda together in a pretty harmonious way. I think this is a game that can unify top-down Zelda fans, 3D formula Zelda fans, and new school Zelda fans. It harkens back to items, heart pieces, and dungeons. It has plenty of charming and explorable towns and wild areas. Storyline that divides at several points, giving players freedom to make their own paths at their leisure and discretion. And the echoes make it where the only limitation is the player's imagination, which I think Breath of the Wild fans will really enjoy. So let me know. Did you like the return to the old Zelda roots? Do you feel like this game perfectly blends all schools of thoughts for what a Zelda game is? I'll say that personally, it did scratch an itch for me, as I love A Link Between Worlds, and the game naturally kind of gave me those vibes. I've said it several times throughout this video, I know I'm arguing a weird point. I'm not saying this is 10 out of 10. Is this game in my top 5 Zelda games? I don't know. I haven't sat down and done my list of where I would put Echoes of Wisdom, but I was playing through it, I followed the trailers very closely, and all I could think is, thanks to the way the echoes work, this game is going to blend old school playstyles like those found in A Link to the Past with new school problem solving like found in Breath of the Wild. So I think if nothing else, we can have some interesting conversations. So let me know what you guys thought of Echoes of Wisdom, and when we make a new Zelda game, let's just say for the Switch 2, what Zelda game are you hoping it plays like? Link to the Past, Ocarina of Time, Breath of the Wild, or some combination of different aspects of these Zelda games? Let me know down below. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Have a great day, everybody.